You can't fight a war without first understanding your enemy. And in this video, I will be laying Collective Shout bare for all to see, showing you all their words, their beliefs, and their history. In the last 48 hours, I have been labeled a man by them for daring to speak out. Since then, they have done nothing but continue to use harsh language to try to make a point. They deem everyone questioning them porn addicts, pedophiles, or worse, all while presenting all anime as childlike to gear up for their next major crusade. They never once engage with a single woman who speaks out against them and seem to prefer to silence them. We start this with their website, a brief overview. They claim to be against the sexualization and exploitation of women and girls, but their focus lies in controlling businesses, walking a fine line between attacking women directly while shaming businesses for selling products that women refuse to stop buying. They've taken glory in targeting Grand Theft Auto back in 2015. They targeted Detroit Become Human, Sword Art Online, and other games in anime. But they did a lot more than just that. Halloween costume is a bit too sexy. They want it gone. Wine bar getting a little saucy with an ad? Banned. Bookstore selling raunchy works of fiction, mostly by women for women? Bad. Playboy raising money for breast cancer charities? Hella banned. Bakery using a cheeky slogan that is fun? Oh, this is hell on earth for these people. Lip gloss companies associating with the sensual themes? The devil might as well be gazing right at you. They even present a full-grown woman as a tween or girl instead of the woman that she is in order to shame a clothing company for such imagery. They have a treasure trove of misrepresentations and claims of sending angry emails, but I can't find a single mention of actually helping rape or abuse victims. Who is Melinda Tankard Reist, the founder of Collective Shout? A woman with a journalism degree who somehow ended up as a bioethics advisor for a senator, Melinda is actually hated among feminists because she seems to not understand the word. A misandrist in her presentation and actions, she is both deeply pro-life and pro-woman by claim, however has no issue banning things women actually want and do. Born in 1963, she's a 61-year-old and is dedicating her golden years to fighting fiction instead of spending time with her family. Not even a year after getting hired for some position she isn't qualified for, the senator she worked for was able to pull abortion pills from Australia in developing nations that Australia had its claws in, denying women safe abortion options even in the face of rape or incest. The rest of the world, by comparison, was using these pills. This is when actual feminists started to notice her, and she has been a thorn in women's side ever since. In 2012, Melinda threatened to sue a blogger, Jennifer Wilson, for daring to speak against her. In a very tame blog post, Jennifer calls out Collective Shout for essentially slut-shaming by proxy and denying women agency to choose. This notion is important for later, and Jennifer questions the group and how they operate. How Collective Shout shames women and girls. It's with some amusement that I note Melinda Tankard Reist's Collective Shout claims that they are not slut-shaming women and girls who want, buy, and wear clothing that the organization considers sexualizes them. They are not, they claim, targeting women and girls who wear the clothes, rather they are attacking the retailers who sell them. I suppose they are slutty retail shamers. If they attack retailers who sell the clothes of which they so strongly disapprove, they cannot help but slut-shame the women who freely choose to buy and wear them. They are telling women and girls that the clothes sexualize them, that is, makes them look like tramps and sluts available for male use and abuse. You can't have these clothes, Collective Shout says, because they make you look available, and if you won't stop buying them, we'll stop them from being sold. Believe it or not, no retailer on earth stocks products nobody wants to buy and hopes to prosper. Clearly, somebody wants the clothing Collective Shout loves to hate. Not everybody shares their aesthetic. Maybe it's a class thing. I noticed they aren't going after David Jones and Pumpkin Patch, who service the middle class and peddle a different aesthetic from Target. What's certain is that if someone is trying to prevent stores from stocking the clothes you want because they think it's immoral, you are being judged and shamed for your choices by people who believe they know better than you and how you should look. I've never looked at a young girl and thought she looks like a tramp, or more formally, she's been sexualized, no matter what the girl is wearing. It's a mystery to me why anyone would choose to first perceive a child in this way and then speak about her in such a pejorative term. She goes on to write more, but that summarizes it nicely. She then goes on to detail a strange letter sent over by a possible lawyer and the demands. The 17th of January that year, Some thoughts on being threatened with defamation by MTR. Well, here's the thing. I've been challenging MTR for a couple of years on the drum at On the Line Opinion and on my blog. Not once has she debated, denied, argued, or contested the points that I've made about her and the position from which she speaks. TR has a much bigger public platform than I do and far more opportunity to respond to her critics. But rather than engage in any debate at all with me over the last couple of years, she's now chosen to threaten me with a defamation suit. If she proceeds, she will financially ruin me. Demands that her lawyer, Rick Lucas of Colquhoun Murphy, the firm that successfully sued Bob Elias after his Abbott and Costello book, has insisted I must not publish in another attempt to bully, intimidate, and control me. Mr. Lucas does not want me to reveal to anybody what those demands are. The two statements I made that offended Tankard Reist, according to her lawyer's letters, are: 1. I stated she is a Baptist, which he claims in the letter she is not, and 2, that I expressed my opinion that MTR is duplicitous and deceptive about her religion. If I do not retract both those statements, apologize in format MTR's lawyers determines is sufficient for her needs, and pay for all her legal costs, even though there has been no writ served and the matter has not gone anywhere near court, they are still demanding I pay costs she has incurred to date. I will be faced with financial ruin as I defend a defamation suit. Jennifer luckily refuses to bend the knee and refuses to apologize or retract anything. But what it did do was start a conversation that led to a collective shouting at Melinda, turning her into a laughingstock. However, there are those that came to her defense in her circle. This article was written in January 25th, 2012. On Sunday, TR was also given a platform by Fairfax to complain about the level of online vilification directed at her since her legal threats to Wilson. That same day, News Limited commenter and avowed Catholic Miranda Devine weighed in to run the same line. TR was a victim of cyberbullies, miserable orcs who lurk in the dark recesses of Twitter and the blogosphere, who had poured calumny on her. Devine's piece was littered with abuse of her own. Leslie Kennold was nastily termed an abortion enthusiast, bringing to mind Sarah Silverman's line, "I want to get an abortion, but my boyfriend and I are having trouble conceiving." Conservative lawyer Kathy Sherry also joined in, complaining that she had been driven from debate because unaccountable bloggers directed exclusionary vitriol at her. It's a tale as old as time. Then came the funniest post of all, threatened legal action by the Australian Sex Party because she said that they were associated with pseudo-child pornography. The blogger whom anti-pornography campaigner Melinda Tankard Reist has threatened with defamation has vowed not to apologize. And the Australian Sex Party, a long-term opponent of Miss Tankard Reist, has now made its own defamation threats. Miss Tankard Reist's lawyers served Jennifer Wilson, whose blog at the website No Place for Sheep was a letter demanding that Dr. Wilson retract a post that characterized Miss Tankard Reist as being hypocritical for not disclosing her religious beliefs. Dr. Wilson said the approach was heavy-handed and bullying. Meanwhile, the leader of the Australian Sex Party, Fiona Patten, said Miss Tankard Reist has made some very horrible untruths about the party, and she has been inspired by the controversy to revisit the issue of legal action. In 2009, Miss Tankard Reist posted an article accusing the sex party of being linked to pseudo-child pornography. That is a theme with this woman. She uses the harshest language possible to look right, as outed here for being praised for using emotionally charged language, not factual. The Sydney Morning Herald released an article with a segment here. It is a message that has attracted a wide range of fans and collaborators, from teenagers to teachers and psychologists such as Steve Biddulph and Michael Cargreg. It is very difficult to debate with her because if you're talking to a mainstream audience, you sound like a boring dick, observes one commentator who is regularly pitted against Tankard Reist. She argues anecdotally, she argues emotively, and she is highly effective at it. She doesn't come with facts. She doesn't come with data. She doesn't come with useful statistics. No, she shouts you down with emotion. That's dangerous. But this woman also only filters who she debates with. She would never have a conversation with someone like me. And we know that because they blocked me. Surely the point of contention when it comes to Melinda is not about God or her as a person, but about her politics, which are socially conservative and stem from an old school desire to protect women and girls from a cruel and sexualized world, as if women are unable to think and act for themselves. Misogynist abuse online and playing the victim. Well, victimhood really is the new black, isn't it? Back in 2012, I suggested at the beginning of the year that we look out for victimhood on the part of right-wing commentators, but it's alarming just how quickly it was served up. Victim-in-chief at the moment is Christian activist, anti-abortion campaigner, and censorship advocate Melinda Tankard Reist. The womenaustralia.info website down at the bottom says there's been some controversy over the extent to which Tankard Reist claims come from a feminist position of concern for the greater social welfare of women in general. Questions center on her work for Senator Herendine, an independent Catholic senator who, in deals with the Howard government in 1996, heavily restricted the availability of the abortion pill in both Australia and in countries in receipt of Australian aid. Tankard Reist's own deep adherence to her Christian faith has also led to suggestions that her stance against abortion and pornography are driven by conservative morale and religious beliefs rather than a social commitment to ensuring the concerns of women are publicized and improved. But she isn't the only psycho who can give us insights into this little gaggle of graying geeses. Let's take a look at Caitlyn Roper, the campaign manager. She's another journalist trying to sell books. I mean censor anime. I mean raise taxes. Protect women. Her pinned tweet is, of course, her trying to sell her book, Sex, Dolls, Robots, and Women Hating. She has, of course, naturally blocked me. Here she is retweeting the Spinifex Press. Activist Caitlyn Roper, author of Sex, Dolls, Robots, and Women Hating, has spent many hours on forums of men, numbering in their thousands, who own replica women. Caitlyn takes issue back in 2023. How has the skimpies industry survived #MeToo? Apparently, Me Too wasn't about servicing rape victims and giving them a platform to tell their story. No, it was actually about shutting down bars and sex clubs. Interesting. She also takes issue back in 2021. Want to call out sexual harassment? Start with your own Champs Change-led shopping centers hosting sexist and pornified images of essentially naked women. Unwanted exposure to sexual and pornographic imagery is sexual harassment. This just in, treating women as sex objects doesn't suddenly become feminist act just because the photographer is a woman. So she takes issue with a woman's ability to choose. If I, a female photographer, go to my female friend who's interested in posing a bit risque, that's apparently not good. She argues with Michael here. Michael says, yeah, and men don't get treated the same. I mean, every single sunglasses ad or clothing ad for men is just some good-looking male model, shirtless or otherwise. So yeah, men get the same treatment in regards to ads. Caitlyn, however, comes in very bravely. Nope, sure, men too are sexualized, but I'm yet to see shopping center ads featuring men posing submissively, near naked, smiling coyly, wearing a fuck me expression alongside fully clothed women. Well, don't worry, you got what you wanted because in 2020, they started really promoting the demasculation of men. Now it's all over the place in Marvel. Empowerment has become the cover for doing whatever the hell you like. Anyone who complains is trying to oppress you. And we'll revisit this article. Kim K does not post naked selfies of herself in order to liberate women from oppression. She does it for her career. Now, there is truth in this tweet. However, the reason why she's tweeting it is bad because her reason for tweeting it is wanting to censor people who do genuinely want to do those things. Meyer, is it your policy to display posters of naked, objectified women so long as it is international campaigns? Why are pregnant women always naked on magazine covers? Why indeed? Why do we celebrate the beauty of a pregnant woman? I wonder, Caitlyn. I wonder. Coming back to the Collective Shout podcast called Beyond Patriarchal Sex, and, well, their most recent one has a lot of irony in it.
To you. Real empowerment isn't about being desirable. It's about having agency. It's about the freedom to say no, the freedom to speak out, to take up space, to stand with others fighting for justice.
Real empowerment isn't about desirability, it's about agency, the freedom to speak out. Funny, because Collective Shout wants to take away the agency of women to choose based on their views of sex, abortion, and fiction. And the moment a woman disagrees with them, they either sue them, block them, or label them a man in my case. And at the minute 55 mark, this happens.
I told you that rape and incest games are being marketed to 12-year-olds.
Full stop. That is not happening. That is a mischaracterization of the market, ratings, and more. But they knew that. They use harsh language to avoid challenge and then lie about everything after. Countries have rating boards for a reason, and presenting things like this is dangerous because it could be done about anything. This is the slippery slope of misinformation at its finest. Removing adult spaces isn't the answer, which is their goal. Removing children from the internet is the best solution, but you don't need government to do it. You need a change in culture. But again, we're focusing on their words right now. In another video from 2 months ago, they're boasting about the No Mercy game going down. At the developer's actions, however, not Steam's, which is probably why they went to payment processors, because Steam didn't do anything. These two women here are Melinda and Danny. Danny is the NCOS legal rep and person attempting to characterize anime as childlike in totality. These groups moved together because it has become more effective for them. NCOS is a morality group that rebranded from Catholic morals to child exploitation because people listen with harsher language involved. This video goes on to make the claims, oh, the science is out there, to back them up. But she promotes another book written by someone else within Collective Shout while making outlandish claims that 12-year-olds are getting easy access to adult games. That's a parenting problem, not an adult-to-adult market problem. All of their videos and interviews are like this, just internet bloggers with no real worth to the world saying, trust me, bro, even though we've already had plenty of studies on media saying the opposite is true. But we all know that this isn't about facts. This is just angry women doing angry woman things. For 30 years. Moving on from Caitlyn, this is Coralie Alison, the operation manager, and some of her tweets over the years. Japan bans possession of child pornography, but not excludes manga or anime. She's upset about just manga and anime existing, mind you. She's not upset about the content of it because she doesn't engage with the content of it. She's upset over something she doesn't understand. Mirroring the previous woman. And this time, they allowed her to wear a skirt, although still topless, because apparently using women's bodies to sell products works, right? Looks like they haven't read the research that shows ads with sexual objectification don't actually sell more products. Oops. Just a bit of sexploitation courtesy of Mayo. Using a woman's naked body to sell perfume. Let's wrap her in a ribbon, as if she's an actual object. Even Air France does it. For only €49, you can book pretty, innocent, seductive, and naked Florence. Think Depends could have gotten the message across without zooming in on a girl's half-naked body. Keep in mind, the target audience for Depends is older women. No girls were involved in this. Objectified near-naked female bodies with bags for heads. Is she naked holding a blanket? A dress? Who really cares? Her purpose is to act sultry so we can sell more perfume. And no cosmetic counter would be complete without a product endorsing sexual harassment. Send nudes, lip tint with a picture of bare backside. Because that's just what young girls need. Pressure to send naked selfies. Why are you promoting young girls wearing makeup? Makeup should actually just be an adult woman thing. I digress. And when your marketing department has no creativity, you resort to age-old sexual innuendo. Get naked, get dirty, get rough, get clean. Wow, how original. I'm so inspired to buy this product. Insert massive eye roll. Coles pulls Harper's Bazaar Australia magazine with naked Miranda Kerr on cover. In a rare twist of fate, though, this is, and I do have to give them credit for this, the only group to remain consistent in their hatred of all nudity.
Shame the Body Shop Australia uses naked men to sell soap. If your product was any good, you wouldn't need sex to sell it. Gasp. I asked the staff at Meijer why a picture of naked women with perfume in a crotch was displayed.
You mean the individual at the counter making minimum wage who has never talked to a representative from the actual company in their life, who isn't paid enough to deal with your bullshit? I like how there's no follow-up. Also, none of them have any engagement on any of their tweets, and yet somehow they get companies to listen to them. I think that that's crazy.
Let's celebrate women by stripping them naked and make them sit on the floor. Women's cycling team made to look half naked. Stop objectifying and sexualizing women. Council officials voted to remove all billboards and posters that could be seen to contribute to body image issues.
My God, she just keeps going year after year, so hateful. But this is my personal favorite.
At Coralie.
I understand why the stalking ads are misogynistic, but what's wrong with showing skin in a non-sexualized way?
It's the cumulative total of using naked and or sexualized women's bodies in marketing that is harmful.
Interesting. They want the Sharia law of advertisement and fiction to be the deciders of what is and isn't okay. Why do they think that they deserve so much power? Why doesn't the Muslim man or the Chinese dictator get to decide? Why should they be elected the moral arbiter? My most holy of late Nan, a pious woman through and through, would tell them that they are being whores for showing any skin. So why are they being listened to over the wisdom of my Nan? But that last tweet, that's exactly what this is all about. It's the total use of naked bodies in marketing that is harmful. They are against all nudity, which means all movies and games, and content with anything spicy they want sanitized. The Witcher, GTA, Mass Effect, all these games with a bit of fan service. All anime, all of TV. However, there's not a peep trying to get payment processors to sever ties with Hollywood, where actual rape and pedophilia run rampant behind the cameras. These are the people that they support, follow, retweet, reference. The first one is the funniest one, retweeting something that sounded good to them, but it comes from someone who may actually have a disdain for women. And they don't retract the tweet. They cannot admit that they are wrong because the moment that they do, well, that's bad for them because what else are they wrong about? This was the individual that I used in a previous video. He actually commented on their tweet that he isn't even a gamer and shouldn't be their Exhibit A. Then says common woman L. I would agree here, because this is the ultimate L, but they still keep those words up despite the trollish nature of them. Melinda retweeted Danny, who is on her crusade of labeling everything anime as childlike. Melinda also retweets Marissa, but Marissa's too stupid to realize that all nudity bad, and genuinely thinks her gooning, Baldur's Gate, is good, which in reality, Collective Shout wants this gone too, because remember, all nudity bad, all porn degrading, all fiction must be sanitized. Jolie, a supporter of Coralie, says the quiet part out loud.
Jolie says, "Yep, can't wait for the marketing to get clever and create ads that don't involve sexualized sexism to sell. That being said, the best way to stop this is to not buy their stuff."
And yet, females do. Not women in this case. And yes, I will look into the words chosen and the disdain that this person has for the fact that women dare to have agency. Which brings me to the next article reposted by Caitlyn Roper talking about how empowerment has become a cover for doing whatever the hell you like. And anyone complaining is oppressive. While there is some crossover from arguments over the years that would normally have me mildly agreeing with them, that empowerment from the overall female movement was just manipulation, it is the reasoning that they use it and the reasoning behind Collective Shout that I will shoot them down. They use this as a means to shame women and control. They can't just call a woman a slut anymore, so they know that that won't work. But what they are doing is going to the store and giving them bad press in hopes that they ban the item that the women won't stop buying. Before I get canceled, I learned a new word today, and so will you. From shopping to naked selfies, how empowerment lost its meaning. It's quite an exciting time to be a woman, I can tell you. Feminism might not have quite finished its work yet. There are still niggly little things such as unequal pay and female genitalia mutilation, and unbelievably, abortion remains an actual issue in the US elections in 2016. But never has it been easier for a woman to feel empowered. So apparently, genital mutilation is just something to be mildly uncomfortable with. The article, however, goes on. The problem with this approach is that it leads to a great big pile of nothing. The suggestion that women should unthinkably celebrate one another purely out of sisterly feelings is about as patronizing as the idea that women shouldn't trouble their brains with opinions. The article further goes on, feminists who query whether things such as prostitution, pole dancing, or larking about naked while being filmed by self-described pervert Terry Richard, as Miley Cyrus did for her video Wrecking Ball, are really empowering themselves, are shouted down as angry anti-sex harridans. In recent years, there have been feminist revisions of everyone from Margaret Thatcher to Kim Kardashian simply because they want their own self-empowered women, even though both of them explicitly distance themselves from the label in their respective times. Yet when the Kardashian tweeted a topless selfie last month, she claimed that she was empowered by her sexuality and thus, via the media of her iPhone and her breasts, she was striving to encourage the same empowerment for girls and women all over the world. Anyone who queried this philosophy was shouted down as an out-of-date loser who encouraged body shaming. So maybe the easiest way to deal with the kinds of arguments raised by choice feminism is to end with the simple truth. While the ability to choose is feminist, that doesn't mean the choice itself is. As Carrie Bradshaw, the icon of self-empowerment, could tell you, do whatever you like, but don't kid yourself that you're doing anything more than pleasing yourself. Buying shoes is not a strike against the patriarchy. Telling other women to shut up online is not a feminist act. Tweeting photos of your boobs is not empowering the world. There's a lot of things I actually agree with in this article, but having Collective Shout use this as a means of censorship, that's bad. I don't aim to stop women from taking pictures of themselves, just merely being informed that the act is not a form of empowerment. You're still showing off boobs. It's just you doing it. All of this is still about control, controlling what men can consume and controlling what women want to do, all while defying biology and ignoring the concept of self-governance, responsibility, and ownership. Collective Shout is an evil organization that will stop at nothing. They are a politically funded and politically supported Australian group attempting to influence American markets and companies across the globe. By going to nervous payment processors, they have now skirted government altogether by taking advantage of the duopoly of Visa and MasterCard, but also PayPal and others. If this is allowed to continue, essentially these women have found a life hack of true power. These companies don't want to make business risks and have government come down on them, so it's easier for them to just give in, but no more. We cannot let extremists win. This group is not woke. They are not extreme Christians. They don't represent anyone but themselves, are upset because churches apparently don't do enough, and seem to blame unrelated topics on each other instead of just promoting good parenting and accountability. They want to tear down a woman's right to choice in more than just clothing, but abortion too. Look at this gross framing of this, using a woman's suffering and worse, based on her bullshit book, tries to claim that the woman tried to hang herself because of the abortion, not because of the rape or whatever else has gone on. Her book argues women who have abortions suffer more. But when she collected testimony, she only sought out pro-life individuals by posting to Right to Life newsletter. Keep this in mind, this woman's work in 1995 and 1996 aided in preventing safe abortion methods for developing areas that Australia had infected. Her other book, Defiant Birth, includes narratives that resist pressures to abort, which she presents as empowering. Remember above where they had someone on their YouTube channel say empowerment is the right to choose? Apparently not, because if you choose abortion, she'll claim that you're suffering grief. They don't want any nudity, not even tastefully done nudity, and will call whatever they want childlike or exploitation to get their way. They will lie, misrepresent, and use harsh language. Countries all over the world have their own laws. And if she wants to make Australia more miserable, she should go about that and Australians can resist her and lambaste her. But now she is attempting to do so internationally, and I won't stand for it. Yes, they went viral over rape and incest video games, but their true motives expand far beyond that. This group is dangerous, and I thank you for your time listening. I know that this was a mouthful full of information, but it's important that it gets out. These people are sick, and they shouldn't be allowed to get away with this.